A voice tells North Clear not to panic, hoping the wicked female is finally dead. A woman's eye flutters open as she wonders who North Clear is. A dark-haired boy shouts that the bad female moved as his white-haired companion looks on in shock. The dark-haired boy stares in disbelief, exclaiming that she's still alive. The woman sits up, clutching her aching head. OWW, she looks down, surprised to find the wound on her chest has vanished. Discovering blood on her finger, she realizes the back of her head is badly injured and feels confused. She looks at the two boys before her and asks who they are. The dark-haired boy defiantly warns her not to hit them, thinking she must have scrambled her brains. The white-haired boy introduces himself as North Clear and his brother as West Blue, but West Blue insists she's faking amnesia. She presses North Clear to finish what he was saying. She asks her own identity. North Clear nervously says, CN, while West Blue angrily calls her a dark, smelly, bad female. Sion is horrified, wondering how it's possible she's dark and smelly. Her eyes widen in a sudden realization that she's from the apocalypse. In a flashback to a burning city, she holds a sword to a man's neck, suspecting an explosion sent her here. Her face falls as she realizes the impossible truth. She has transmigrated. She understands she's been reborn into a book as Sion, the villainess. A dark memory reveals the villainess was the mother of 4 main antagonists. She recalls the villainess, Sion, was the mother of 4 snake beastmen, who she inhumanely abused. Her grim fate is revealed. She was tragically tortured to death by her own children. A spray of blood marks the violent end of her story. Looking at the 2 cowering boys, she realizes with horror that they are her future killers. She offers a hug, but West Blue recoils, accusing her of plotting new tortures and screaming that she's not their mother. He throws a rock, hitting her head as she glares, calling them little brats. Her menacing glare fills the 2 boys with fear. She calms herself, remembering she isn't the original Sion, and recalls details of the boys' past from the novel. The story described how North Clear was whipped to be sold, while West Blue was starved for 3 days for breaking a bowl. A flashback shows the 2 boys, bruised and starving, huddled over the pieces of a broken bowl. Tears well in Sion's eyes as she looks upon them with newfound sympathy. The boys decide to run, seeing an opportunity while she's injured. As their sinful biological mother, Sion accepts her difficult future, but is grateful her wood and space-type superpowers transmigrated with her. Surrounded by a green aura, she realizes her powers are what saved her from bleeding to death. Snap. She decides her first priority is to survey her new surroundings. Stepping into a lush landscape, she's amazed by the rich aura of life emanating from the plants. She gazes at the vibrant forest, a scene she longed for in her post-apocalyptic world. She recalls this is a primitive world inhabited by beastmen, divided only into males and females. The immense size of the trees and grass reminds her of the unique characteristics of the beast world from the novel. She steels her resolve, knowing her most pressing issue now is to survive. But she must survive alongside the 4 children who want her dead. By a campfire at dusk, she feels a sense of accomplishment after a day's work. Worried that the boys haven't returned, she ventures into the forest, calling for West Blue and North Clear. West Blue emerges from the bushes with his brother, telling her to quit yelling. She scolds the 2 little rabbits for running off, but North Clear indignantly declares they are snake cubs. North Clear asks what a rabbit is, and Sion explains it's a long-eared beast. West Blue claims they saw a long-eared creature die after crashing into a tree, and Sion eagerly asks to see it. She thinks excitedly about how valuable the meat and hide of such a creature would be. West Blue tells her to follow them as they lead the way into the woods. North Clear whispers to his brother about the creature, but West Blue shushes him, intent on teaching the bad female a lesson. The scene transitions to the dark, moonlit forest. As her terrible sense of direction kicks in, Sion suggests they turn back, but West Blue just tells her to hurry up. The dark-haired boy calls her bad female and leaves. She panics, suddenly remembering his true form as a snake. Realizing her lifelong fear of snakes was used against her, she knows the 2 boys deliberately tricked her. Dejected, she realizes gaining the boys' approval will be a long and difficult journey. Deciding to head back, she begins her walk through the dark forest. A sudden hiss makes her freeze in alarm. Her fear intensifies as a monstrous beast with glowing red eyes emerges from the shadows. She recognizes it as a giant, ancient beast and is filled with terror. Meanwhile, Third brother confidently tells the white-haired boy the stupid female is lost, only for them to return to a mysteriously clean cave. She appears and presents them with dinner, but her kindness only deepens third brother's suspicion that she plans to poison them. The white-haired boy loves the food, however, and happily convinces his reluctant brother to eat. Despite the delicious meal, third brother's suspicion hardens into a conviction that she's planning to sell them. The woman recalls how two other children, East Red and South Ink, were sold off long ago. With a thud, third brother draws a blade, convinced she intends to sell him and has tried before. He laments their status as unwelcome snake beastmen, remembering that even their own mother abandoned them. As the white-haired boy voices their despair, the woman, now facing the beast, realizes the brats led her there to be eaten. The giant tiger lets out a mighty roar and attacks. She summons a handgun out of thin air and, with a swish, aims it at the beast. A loud bang shatters the night silence. A watching crow stares in wide-eyed shock, but with a whoosh, the bullet proves useless, and she wonders if the creature is even a normal animal. She holds her ground, gripping the pistol tightly. Finding the beast tougher than a zombie, she resorts to fighting it off with a spear. Leaping into a tree, she uses her wood superpower to ensnare the beast's leg with a swish. Realizing her power can only hold the beast temporarily, a watching bird scoffs at her seemingly futile effort. As the bird judges her actions as suicidal, she desperately tries to think of a new plan. With a swish, she summons a complex and powerful-looking red magic sigil. Peeking from behind a tree, she stares in shock. She summons a deadly thread blade, also known as the flying guillotine, a powerful weapon from the apocalypse. She prepares to face the enraged, red-eyed tiger once more. With a smirk, she provocatively taunts the massive beast. As the tiger roars and lunges, she deftly evades its attack. With a final boom, she lands on its back, her weapon coiled tightly around its neck. After confirming the beast is dead, the shocked bird wonders about the true identity of this incredibly powerful female. The bird continues to watch her, utterly stunned. Exhausted after all that work, she carries her prize. Starving, she starts a fire and roasts the delicious meat, leaving the watching bird baffled by her strange tools. Realizing other ferocious beasts must be nearby, she decides to leave the area quickly. Carrying the heavy pelt, she ventures away from the dangerous area. A mysterious figure lands where she had just been. A man in Egyptian attire inspects the scene, remarking on her unique hunting methods. He's impressed by her skill and the delicious food, but dismisses her for being ugly. He turns away, firm in his preference for only beautiful things. The scene shifts back into the dark forest. Back at the cave, she fumes over the boy's betrayal, resolving not to be a pushover mom. Finding the boys asleep on the floor, she angrily orders them to get up. The two boys huddle together in fear and confusion. Disbelieving, the boys question her command, while she simply asks why they're sleeping on the floor. Third brother, remembering how she always kicked them out, calls her crazy for the sudden change of heart. She angrily insists she's their mother, demanding they call her mom. Scolding them for tricking her, she recounts her near-death experience, but third brother claims they left her in a safe zone. He suggests she must have gotten lost on her own, leaving her speechless and flustered. Map confirms her terrible sense of direction led her into the danger zone, and she looks embarrassed. While admitting her fault, she insists they still shouldn't have just thrown her in the forest. She instantly falls asleep, leaving the boys completely bewildered by her actions. The white-haired boy softens, thinking the ugly female isn't so bad, and feeling the warmth of home for the first time, before whispering an apology. He gently touches her sleeping face, admitting they only meant to scare her. Third brother grabs his brother's hand, calling him a traitor and warning him not to wake her lest they both get kicked out. Sneak! The two boys quietly carry away their supplies while she sleeps. Waking up in a sunlit grove, she calls out for North Clear and West Blue. She looks around in shock, realizing the meat jars and animal hides are gone. Sighing in frustration, she concludes that the two cubs have run off again. Exhausted, she collapses, only to hear a distant cry for help. Her expression hardens as she recognizes the voices of the two brats. She discovers another woman holding the boys, accusing the unwanted snake beast men of stealing again. As Northclear denies the accusation, the woman grabs his hair, but the protagonist watches intently, ready to intervene. She steps forward protectively, ordering the woman to stop touching her cubs. The other woman is stunned, wondering why the notoriously mean female is suddenly caring for her cubs. She forcefully pries the woman's hand off North Clear's hair, demanding she let him go. Ouch! The boys huddle in fear, certain their mother will now help beat them, but she offers North Clear a reassuring glance. Grasping the accuser's wrist, she firmly states that her boys didn't steal anything. The woman claims it's impossible, explaining her fruits vanished right after seeing the two famous little thieves run by. She points out the woman has no proof, who can only complain that her head hurts from having her hair pulled. She turns away from the confrontation to search for clues. Kneeling by a large leaf, she discovers the lingering scent of red fruit. After a moment of searching, she announces that she's found it. She points to small paw prints in the dirt, noting they clearly don't belong to her cubs. She begins to follow the trail of prints deeper into the woods. The trail leads her to 3 guilty-looking bear cubs munching on the stolen red fruits. She turns back to the other woman, a triumphant look on her face. Grrr! Roar! The woman is shocked to find the real culprits are the bear cubs. The tiny, nervous bear cubs hide behind the woman's legs. She sternly declares that, since the culprits are found, an apology to West Blue and North Clear is in order. The other woman turns to flee. The woman defiantly refuses to apologize to cold-blooded snake beastmen. With a menacing approach, she closes in on the defiant woman. She shoves the woman down, who protests that her hard-earned fruits are gone and she's been beaten. With a swift kick, she silences the excuses, calling it a separate issue. She lectures the woman for wrongly accusing and bullying her cubs. The woman finally relents, bowing low and apologizing as the 2 boys watch. As the other woman flees in tears, North Clear expresses shock that she was actually scared away. The 2 boys, terrified by their mother's ferocity, agree they should run away too. She turns around, catching them before they can escape. Leaning down, she fiercely asks where they think they are going. Convinced a beating is coming, the boys agree that a bad female is still a bad female. Back inside the cave, she calmly roasts food over a bright fire. The boys watch in awe, wondering how the bad female learned to use divine fire. North Clear suspects she's possessed, reasoning that her defending them proves something is wrong with her head. She smiles, presenting a plate of freshly cooked food. She offers the food, but the boys stare back with suspicion and surprise. The dark-haired boy refuses, fearing poison, so she leaves the food for them to decide, and the white-haired boy notes how good it smells. Drawn by the delicious aroma, the 2 boys crawl toward the abandoned meal. Nom nom! The white-haired boy eagerly devours the food. The dark-haired boy wonders how the bad female suddenly became so nice and such a good cook. After the meal, she contemplates a large log, pondering her next move. The dark-haired boy questions her, and she explains her need for a tool to make a bucket. The white-haired boy suggests using a snake scale their father left, surprising her. A sudden memory strikes, and she rushes to find the item. She holds a large, shimmering snake scale glowing with purple energy. Chop off. She effortlessly slices through the thick log with the powerful scale. Amazed by its usefulness, she realizes the boy's father must be a truly powerful villain, while the white-haired boy laments her rejection of him. She happily fills her newly crafted wooden bucket with water. She calls for West Blue and North Clear, announcing that it's bath time. The dark-haired boy stubbornly refuses to bathe, fearing a beating and claiming he's used to being dirty. After declaring no bath, no dinner, she ignores the defiant dark-haired boy and kindly invites North Clear to bathe instead. As she leads a willing North Clear to the bath, his brother cries out his name in alarm. Scrub, scrub! She gently washes North Clear's hair, and he smiles, enjoying the attention. After a thorough washing, she wraps a clean and happy North Clear in a warm blanket. Sparkle, sparkle. She fawns over how adorable he looks, all clean. The dark-haired boy watches her hug his brother, a conflicted expression on his face. HMPH. He turns away, looking envious but too stubborn to admit it. She prepares for her own bath, setting up a makeshift curtain. Relaxing in the water, she feels hopeful that she's finally making progress with North Clear. She smiles contentedly, enjoying her peaceful bath. While bathing, she summons a glowing green magic circle. From her storage space, she retrieves her only set of clothes, figuring it's better than nothing. The 2 boys sit and watch as she prepares to get out. She emerges in modern combat attire, looking strong and confident. The boys stare in awe, shocked at how pretty the bad female has become. She tells the boys she's stepping out and asks them to wait for her. Panicked, the boys grab her, worried she'll attract other beastmen mates if she goes out looking so good. She realizes her mistake, remembering the tribe's gender imbalance and resolving not to find any mates. Using a small mirror, she begins painting her face to alter her appearance. The white-haired boy watches with a sad expression as she applies the makeup. Suddenly, Northclear collapses to his knees, crying in distress. She rushes to comfort him as he sobs that he's going to die, begging her not to forget him. Frantic, she demands to know what's happening, insisting he isn't going to die. Through tears, Northclear reveals he saw worms in his feces. She inspects the evidence and diagnoses a parasite outbreak, looking concerned. Holding him close, she reassures Northclear and resolves to take him to the shaman for help. Northclear despairs, believing it's a death sentence for a cub, but she fiercely promises she won't let him die. The scene shifts to a shaman sitting alone at a stone table. She arrives and asks the great shaman for medicine, but the shaman eyes her and the snake beastman cub with suspicion. The shaman coldly informs them that the infection can't be cured and dismisses them. She drops to her knees and begs the shaman to help, offering hides as payment while the boys hide behind her. The shaman explains there is only one way to cure such an infection. The only cure, the shaman reveals, is to reach the green crystal level. Otherwise, it's hopeless. Vowing to find a cure for Northclear, she carries the boys toward a nearby village, her mind set on the green crystal thing. A wolf-eared man introduces himself, asking if she would like to mate with him. She shoves him away, bluntly telling him to get lost. The boys watch the man who is trying to court their mommy. The white-haired boy recognizes the man as Tyson, the top warrior of the Rock Village tribe. As she leads the boys away, a determined Tyson vows to try harder to win her over. Holding her sons, she recalls that parasite infections were easily treated in her era. Remembering she was a botany major, she believes she can recall which herbs will work as a cure. The scene shifts to a sunlit mountain peak at dawn. The dark-haired boy watches as his mother heads out with a tool. West Blue asks if the bad female has forgotten about his sick brother, noting she was just doing chores. Northclear looks down sadly, insisting that she wouldn't forget. She returns excitedly, remembering that pumpkin seeds are the cure and asking the boys if they have seen the plant. West Blue points her in the right direction, saying he's seen the plant downstream. A small map illustrates the simple path to the pumpkins. She returns with a basket full of pumpkins, announcing that Northclear's infection can now be treated. The boys are skeptical that the bad female can cure an illness the shaman couldn't. Gurgle, gurgle! A pot of pumpkin soup bubbles over the fire. She serves the soup, warning them about stomach aches, but promising it will cure the parasite sickness. Without a second thought, the white-haired boy eagerly drinks the soup. After a moment of hesitation, the dark-haired boy drinks his soup as well. Poop! After a trip to the woods, Northclear is amazed that the bad female's method actually worked. Grab! She playfully snatches the dark-haired boy, declaring it must have been a fluke. The boys watch her with the pumpkins, wondering what she plans to do next. She explains her plan to transplant the pumpkins and clear land to grow them near their home. The two boys are confused by the concept of growing plants. As she plants a seedling, West Blue asks if it will survive, and she confidently replies that she can definitely grow it. Using her power, she makes the seedling grow, surrounded by ripe pumpkins. She proudly holds up a large pumpkin, telling the boys they can eat it tomorrow. Her sons stare at her in complete shock and awe. West Blue wonders if she's a priestess, but she shushes them, saying her power is a secret they must keep. The two boys soberly agree to keep her secret safe. Looking toward their cave, she asks the boys to come help her with something. She installs a straw curtain over the cave entrance, explaining its use for cover and ventilation. A delighted Northclear tells his mommy she's smart, while West Blue looks on silently. As Northclear tries to lead him to bed, West Blue pulls his hand away. Snap! Confronted about sleeping, West Blue thinks to himself that he can't tell her his real mother is already dead. Resolving to win him over with her actions, she watches as he declares he's not sleeping on the bed. She tells him he can sleep on the floor then and turns away. The dark-haired boy curls up alone on the cold cave floor. Her eyes snap open in the dark. She looks over at the small boy, shivering on the floor. Standing over him, she watches him sleep fitfully. She gently picks him up and places him on the warm bed, wondering about his strange habit. The scene transitions to a bright, sunlit forest. The next morning, she's cheerfully cooking over the fire. She serves the boys more medicine, promising they'll be all better in a couple of days. She smiles, seeing that the two boys are finally starting to trust her. North Clear shyly follows her, asking for a little more medicine and some pumpkin. North Clear asks for medicine for his other brothers, East Red and South Ink, revealing they were taking food for them all along. Touched by his request, she agrees to find something to wrap the medicine in. She gives him 2 different medicines with instructions on how to take them. The scene shifts to a bright, sunny forest. 2 injured boys, East Red and South Ink, make their way through the woods, with the long-haired boy recalling the constant fighting over females in their old tribe. The long-haired boy remembers their new mother was different, and his brother announces they are almost at their destination. The boys arrive at a cave, cautiously watching a family inside. A man brutally kicks one of the boys, demanding he use more strength as the others watch in fear. The man grabs the long-haired boy, sneering that no beautiful female would want worthless snake beastmen. Hiding in the bushes, West Blue angrily recalls that even though East Red begged their mother, she still heartlessly sold them. Hiss, the injured boy notices his brothers hiding nearby. After explaining what happened, the 4 reunited brothers walk away together. The long-haired boy skeptically examines the medicine from the bad female. North Clear cheerfully offers his older brother a pot of food. He stubbornly refuses, wanting nothing from the bad female. North Clear pleads that the medicine will save his life, asking West Blue to help convince him. The other dark-haired boy urges him to drink the precious medicine to avoid more pain. He cleverly offers the food instead, reasoning it has nothing to do with her. The two ravenously eat the delicious food, and North Clear asks his eldest brother if he's forced to work with a broken arm. Flustered by the question, the eldest brother angrily gets up to leave. Suddenly a woman appears, angrily calling out to East Red and South Ink. When she offers to buy them too, the boys defiantly shout that she'll never bully them again. Furious at their defiance, she viciously slaps one of the boys. She grabs the 2 youngest, screaming that all filthy snake beastmen should just die. She orders her men to grab the disobedient cubs. The boys struggle against a man's grip, shouting for him to let them go. As West Blue shouts, "Scram!" a young girl watches the confrontation from a distance. Worried, she thinks to herself that they're going to bully those cubs again. Remembering how CN protected the cubs before, she realizes she's a good person and rushes off to get her help. Sian reacts with disbelief and anger, asking what she just heard. Huff! The breathless girl arrives, urgently telling Sian that Bear Roo is bullying her cubs. Without a word, Sian sprints off to the rescue. Arriving just in time, she furiously confronts the men holding her sons, shouting, "Stop right there." Seeing their terrible injuries, she realizes these must be East Red and South Ink. Bear Roo turns to her, smugly remarking that she's arrived just in time. Thud! As Sian throws down payment, Bear Roo cruelly announces that she has bought the other 2 cubs as well. Smack! Sian stomps her foot down, calling her a fat bear. She fiercely declares that her cubs are not for sale, and she's taking all 4 of them back. Enraged, Bear Roo accuses the, quote, ugly skinny female of being jealous of her body and her many mates. Sian retorts that while Bear Roo may have many males, she has 4 cubs, leaving the woman speechless. After admitting she's never had a cub, she grabs the boys, screaming that despised snake beastmen deserve to be disciplined. Shut up, Sian snaps back, asking if her mouth stinks from eating filth. Bear Roo grins maliciously, reminding her of the slave contract she herself wrote. She declares that Sian sold the boys with her own hands. Sian looks over at the 2 sad, silent boys, her expression hardening. Crossing her arms, Sian challenges her to show the proof. "Come with me," the woman sneers. "I'll make you give up completely." As she follows, North Clear cries out in warning, "Mother, it's dangerous." The eldest brother turns in shock, stunned to hear him call her mother. North Clear realizes she's protecting them, a kindness he never dared to dream of. The woman orders her man to go find the slave contract for the 2 little brats. Sian glares, thinking about that fat bear bullying her cubs. She stealthily approaches her target with a confident smile. Swoosh, green energy glows from her hand, then magically surrounds a wooden tablet on the floor. The man returns, announcing to his female master that he's found the contract. Bear Rao shoves the contract at Sian, reminding her that she wrote the proof of slavery with her own hands. Reading the contract for East Red and South Ink, Sian wonders how the original owner of her body could have been so cruel. As the text on the contract magically changes, Bear Roo declares the boys are her slaves for life. Sian coolly informs a confused Bear Roo that it's a work contract, not a slave contract. Snatch! After Bear-Roo grabs the tablet, Sian explains she only lent the boys for 10 days, but they were kept for months and now demands compensation. Crack. The woman furiously crushes the tablet, accusing Sian of tricking her. "How dare you trick me," she screams. "I'm going to kill you." Bear-Roo points at Sian, ordering her men to kill her for a handsome reward. Unfazed, Sian pulls out a knife, ready for a fight. Everyone, stop. The village chief and Shaman Maywen arrive, demanding to know what's happening. Sian explains to the village chief that the cub's contract expired, but Bear-Roo furiously insists they are slaves she bought. Sian calmly challenges Bear-Roo to produce the slave contract she keeps mentioning. After Bear-Roo throws down the broken contract, Sian explains to the village chief that the work agreement was twisted into a claim of slavery. Playing the victim, Sian tells the chief she's being bullied for being a female without a mate, enraging Bear-Roo. The village chief orders Bear-Roo to return the cubs, but she protests, enraged that her mate was killed by a snake beast man. The chief sternly reminds Bear-Roo that they are, after all, Sian's cubs. A man runs up to Bear-Roo, urgently calling out to his female master. He frantically announces that their salt is gone, shocking her. Sian watches her sons, recalling that salt is an extremely scarce and vital resource. Pointing accusingly, Bear-Roo tells the village chief that Sian must be the thief who stole their salt. Sian calmly dismisses the accusation as baseless. Bear-Roo orders her men to search Sian, but Sian refuses, asking why she should let them. Sian asks the village chief if there shouldn't be a punishment for slander in the tribe. She glares, ready to make her move. Sai demands 2 animal hides and a formal apology if the salt isn't on her. Bear-Roo defiantly accepts the challenge. Bear-Roo raises the stakes, declaring that if she finds the salt, all 4 of Sian's cubs will be hers. Pull. The boys clutch her worriedly, calling out mother. After her son shakes his head, Sian refuses to be searched by a fat pig, which Bear-Roo takes as a sign of guilt. Sian suggests the credible lady shaman perform the search, so Bear-Roo will have to accept the results. As the shaman searches her, she thinks confidently about how the item is hidden in her personal space, inaccessible to anyone else. She smiles, knowing it's absolutely impossible for the salt to be found. The shaman announces that she found no salt on Sian. Bear-Roo reels in disbelief, while the village chief tells her to stop. The chief scolds her, declaring that the shaman's search proves Sian's innocence. The village chief orders a stunned Bear-Roo to accept her loss and fulfill her promise. Sian smirks, demanding her 2 beast hides and asking if Bear-Roo plans to back out. She watches her opponent with a piercing gaze. Defeated, Bear-Roo angrily tells her men to give Sian the hides. Triumphant, Sian calls to her children. "Let's go home." She leads her 4 sons away through the sunlit forest. A close-up shows one of the injured boys struggling, barely able to walk. Sian glances back with concern at her sons. The shaman explains the cub's injuries, particularly East Red's broken arm, and offers medicine for the pain. In return, Sian gives her the 2 beast hides. She accepts 2 bottles of medicine in exchange for the hides. She asks the injured white-haired boy if he can still walk. The boy stands silently, his expression resentful and defiant. After a sigh, she gently lifts the surprised boy into her arms. He blushes in her arms, suspiciously thinking she plans to hurt him. "Let me go," he struggles, refusing to be carried by the bad female. Chomp. Hiss. He bites her hand repeatedly, calling her a bad female. She sternly warns him that if he keeps struggling, no shaman will be able to save his leg. He defiantly shouts back that it's none of her business. With a concerned expression, she gently puts him back on his feet. Wobble! The boy immediately stumbles, unable to bear weight on his injured leg. He collapses to the ground as Sian calls out his name. East Red? The other boys cry out for their eldest brother as Sian kneels by his side. Later that night, she prepares to apply medicine to another boy's arm, warning him it will hurt. The boy watches her, wondering if she was always this different. As she tends to East Red's wounds, he weakly murmurs that it hurts. Crying out in his sleep, he whimpers that it hurts so much. Seeing his serious infection, she decides to use her powers and asks West Blue to draw the leaf curtain. Swish! As the curtain closes, she reveals her wood-type ability has a healing function. A glowing green sigil forms as she begins to heal East Red's broken bone with her magic. Outside the leaf curtain, the other 2 brothers watch the glowing light with concern. West Blue is shocked that she has powers, while North Clear worries for his brother and South Ink identifies the plant-based magic. East Red lies still as a warm, green light envelops him. She asks how long his arm has been broken, but he just scoffs and turns away. She asks North Clear instead, who reveals his brother's arm has been broken for 15 days. She learns that since the arm wasn't set properly, the bone has healed crookedly. Saddened that a 5-year-old has endured so much, she offers to set East Red's bone for him. He stares up at her, looking nervous and uncertain. "Don't touch me," he shouts, as another brother asks what bone setting is. One of the other boys explains that it means breaking the bone again to fix it, horrifying East Red. He recoils in terror, believing she intends to torture him and make his life a living hell. She gently tells him she'll set the bone, promising he can use his healed hand to hit her later if he still hates her. He angrily asks why she's asking, since she never cares what he wants. She knows he hates her the most. A vision flashes of an older version of him trying to kill her, confirming her fear that he wants her dead. Leaning close, she tells him that no matter how much he hates her, he'll never kill her. Crack! She swiftly breaks his arm to reset the bone as he struggles silently. The others rush in as North Clear asks how his brother is. She replies they must watch for a fever. She watches over the unconscious boy, earnestly hoping he pulls through the ordeal. The next day, she holds a basket of fresh produce when a distant howl catches her attention. Whoosh! She looks up, wondering about the sound as a flock of birds suddenly takes flight. North Clear runs toward her, urgently calling out, "Mother." He grabs onto her, crying that his eldest brother is gone. Realizing he'd rather flee while injured, she comforts North Clear, calling him a good cub. Her expression hardens with determination. She instructs North Clear and West Blue to find their brother, warning them that moving too soon could cause permanent damage to his newly set limbs. She laments raising such rebellious cubs and decides to let his brothers persuade him to return. A woman from the village arrives, announcing that the chief has called a mandatory gathering for all females. As they walk, Siyan learns the gathering is about the sacred fire, the tribe's spiritual soul. The woman explains the fire is their source of life and is shocked when Siyan asks where it originally came from. A woman warns that according to the high priestess, only cubs baptized in the sacred fire grow up healthy. Siyan scoffs at the woman's claim that the tribe will decline if the fire is extinguished. The woman warns that without a male protector, Siyan could be eaten by wild beasts. Giving up, the woman dismisses her and walks away with the others, leaving Siyan to watch them go. Siyan observes another female surrounded by admiring males, realizing that being mateless makes her an outcast. An older woman approaches Tyson and asks if he wants to mate with Siyan. A blushing Tyson quickly tells his aunt to stop talking nonsense. His aunt teases him about being rejected by Siyan before, noting how she has changed and reminding him that, as the one with a special bloodline, he is the hope of the entire tribe. The aunt suggests he would be better off with Bear Nye than with the formerly skinny and dark Siyan. She smiles slyly, asking him what he thinks about her suggestion. She turns to find him gone, realizing he went straight to find Siyan as he approaches from behind. Tyson places a hand on Siyan's shoulder, and she turns as he looks at her with a blush. Siyan looks at him questioningly, asking what he wants. In a field of daisies, he formally introduces himself as Tyson. He earnestly offers to protect her. Tyson pulls her closer, and she realizes males surrounding females for protection must be a local custom. A chibi version of Siyan thinks he's standing way too close for comfort. As Tyson holds her, a woman with cat ears watches them with a knowing look. Nearby, Beru gnaws on a piece of meat, angrily calling Siyan a worthless female nobody wants. The cat-eared woman corrects Beru, stating that Siyan is not an unwanted female. Tyson asks Siyan if she can see their village from their vantage point. Beru glares with malice, vowing that Siyan will pay for this. Suddenly, the white-haired boy, North Clear, emerges from the bushes and runs to Siyan, crying out, "Mommy!" Siyan holds him close, looking at the crying boy with deep concern. He tearfully tells her that they found their eldest brother, who is planning to burn down Beru's cave for revenge. Her eyes widen in shock as she thinks East Red has fire in his hand. She realizes he must have taken fire from home, connecting his actions to the now extinguished sacred fire. Understanding the danger, she knows that if East Red starts a fire, their entire family will be blamed. Tyson calls out her name as she runs off with North Clear, determined to stop her son. At a cave entrance, two boys plead with their eldest brother, East Red, not to be reckless as he stands with a lit torch. East Red furiously declares that Bear Roo made him a cripple, and he'll gladly pay for revenge with his life. His brother looks on in despair as East Red laments that his life is worthless and no one cares. His brother thinks that while revenge is good, he wonders why all the brothers are so ill-fated. Cian arrives just in time, grabbing East Red's arm and scolding him for trying to set a fire. He's stunned that the evil female who sold him actually came to find him. He defiantly tells her that his actions have nothing to do with her. Cian challenges him, saying he should burn her instead, as she was the one who sold him to Bear Roo. He angrily shouts that he does want to burn her, demanding to know why she sold him. Crying, he yells that he can endure hunger, cold, and beatings, but he can't understand why she sold him. She gently touches his cheek, promising she will never sell him again. He turns away, saying he won't believe her because she already betrayed him once. He stands defiantly at the mouth of the cave, torch held high. Cian calls out, "East Red!" and lunges forward to stop him. Crackle! The torch tumbles into the dry grass and flames erupt as someone shouts, "It's on fire!" Shouting danger, Cian pulls East Red back and tells West Blue to get North Clear out of there. As the fire engulfs the cave entrance, she tells North Clear to take good care of his brother. The boys cry out for their mommy not to go as she turns to face the blaze. Grab! She rips a large animal hide free to use against the fire. As she prepares to fight the inferno, Bear Roo arrives and furiously accuses the wicked female of stealing the sacred fire to burn her cave. Bear Roo screams for the villagers to look, blaming Cian for stealing the kindling and destroying her cave. A man named Tyson yells for Cian to stay back from a raging fire, but coughing, she thinks an animal hide won't work. She spots a dustpan full of sand nearby. With an idea, she grabs the dustpan and throws its contents onto the flames. Sizzle! The fire begins to die down as someone shouts a warning. The village chief cries out in horror as Cian extinguishes what she calls the sacred fire. Cian maintains a steely, determined gaze. A furious Bear Roo accuses Cian of stealing the fire to burn her cave and demands she and her snake brats be banished. Another woman accuses Cian of being a spy sent to destroy their village by extinguishing the sacred fire. Tyson steps forward to defend Cian, insisting to the village chief that she's not that kind of woman. Other men argue that she has extinguished the sacred fire, dooming the tribe. A mob gathers, chanting for Cian to be banished as her white-haired son watches from afar. The boy, East Red, thinks that he's the one who did it and wonders why they're blaming her, but another boy stops him from going forward. North Clear tells his brother they have to trust their mommy. Cian confidently warns that if she is banished from Rock Village, they won't be able to relight the fire. The village chief asks what she means. Cian declares that since she could extinguish the fire, she can also make it burn again. Stunned, the village chief asks if she's telling the truth. Cian says it's a pity she'll have to leave. As Bear Roo protests, the chief promises not to banish her if she can relight the fire. Bear Roo shouts in disbelief at the village chief's decision. Cian agrees to light the fire on one condition: Bear Roo must leave the village forever. The chief explains they need every female to reproduce and asks Cian to change her condition. Seeing the chief hesitate, Cian walks away, telling her to forget it. The chief desperately grabs Cian's arm, pleading for her to help the tribe relight the sacred fire. Cian smiles, proclaiming that even without her condition met, she will relight the fire for the beast god. As the chief looks on, Cian turns to Tyson, calling him a warrior of the beast god. She asks for his help in relighting the sacred fire. A blushing Tyson readily agrees. She beckons him closer with a mysterious smile. She leans in and whispers a secret plan into his ear. After she explains, she asks if he understands, and he nods with a blush. Tyson stands before the dead embers, holding a bundle of kindling. He carefully places the kindling on the pile of ash. Whoosh! The fire reignites, shocking Tyson as the villagers cheer that the sacred fire has been relit. Tyson gazes at Cian, thinking she is both beautiful and pure. He reflects on the dangers of their world and her vulnerability without a mate. He strengthens his resolve, vowing that he must be the one to protect her. As Cian leaves with the chief, the villagers celebrate, overjoyed that Rock Village is saved. The villagers continue to celebrate their salvation, though Bear Roo glares angrily. The jubilant cries that Rock Village is saved echo through the forest. Cian finds East Red hiding in a cave and teasingly asks where his fire-starting courage has gone. Tears well up in his eyes as he looks at her, hurt and defiant. When she asks what's wrong, he angrily yells that it's none of her business. Another boy says he's hungry, and Si Yan promises to make them all some wonderful food. East Red watches her suspiciously from beneath his blanket. That night, she notices the food she left for the boy remains untouched. Learning he won't eat or drink, she worries he'll starve himself as he peeks at her. She surprises him by scooping him into her arms and offering him a spoonful of food. Nom nom. He accepts the food, and she happily cuddles and feeds him. Chew chew. As he eats, tears stream down his blushing face. He struggles, calling her a bad female, but she embraces the title, vowing to force him to call her mommy. Stuff. She silences his muffled threats with another bite of food. The next morning, a white-haired boy awakens and calls out, "Mommy?" Another boy rubs his eyes, asking where she is going so early. She turns with a smile, announcing that she's going hunting. The boys react in shock as one worries she's abandoning them. She pats the white-haired boy's head, promising she has a plan and will return. As she walks away, the two boys watch her go. The dark-haired boy cries out, certain the bad female is abandoning them again. The white-haired boy tells his brother to be nicer if he wants her to stay, but he refuses. The white-haired boy falls silent, looking down with a contemplative expression. The scene shifts to the bright, sunlit forest. She identifies a paralysis fruit that can be used for anesthetics. Carrying her basket, she walks deeper into the woods, thinking. Spotting a large plant, she happily decides dinner is settled for tonight. She walks away from a simple trap she set earlier. From the bushes, she smirks as a rabbit falls into her trap. She returns to the cave with her haul, announcing she's back. The boys happily run to greet her, shouting, "Mommy!" The white-haired boy marvels at the basket full of food. The dark-haired boy watches in disbelief, shocked she actually returned. She asks about tanning hides, and the white-haired boy eagerly volunteers. She tests the sharpness of snake scales as the boy promises she can use his when he grows up. The white-haired boy beams with pride, while the other boy pouts. The dark-haired boy scoffs, calling his brother a shameless traitor for sucking up. The white-haired boy proudly shows her the tanned beast hide. The dark-haired boy jealously tells her not to think his brother is special. He declares that he and his other brothers also know how to do it. She replies that knowing and doing are two different things. She praises the white-haired boy, leaving his brother fuming. She prepares to preserve a large cut of meat. Rub. She thoroughly coats the meat with salt. The dark-haired boy questions her actions, then disbelieves her explanation of curing meat. She smiles knowingly, telling him he'll see the truth in a few days. He suggests telling the village chief about the method to prevent starvation in winter. He hopefully explains how many beastmen could be saved with preserved food. She asks about the tribe, and he sadly admits they aren't nice, but the chief helps sometimes. She recalls the village chief helping the cubs against Bear Roo. As the boy watches, she decides to consider sharing the preservation method. The white-haired boy runs to her, announcing the beast hide is tanned. He proudly holds up the hide, asking what she plans to do with it. She notices his small hands are red and swollen from the difficult work. Her heart aching for him, she says the hide will make 2 good skirts. Black! After pulling a hair, the boy suggests she can use it for sewing. The boy happily imagines making a skirt for his mommy. She holds up the finished piece of clothing. He looks at the small skirt, asking if it isn't a bit small. She holds the new skirt up against him. She smiles, encouraging him to try it on. In a cute chibi panel, she tells him she made it just for him. She tells him to change out of his torn skirt into the new one. The dark-haired boy peeks out from behind a rock, looking sad. A new skirt billows gracefully amidst the foliage. The white-haired boy admires his new clothes, thinking they are so pretty. As she praises her cub, the boy blushes, stammering her name and thinking she called him pretty. His human form begins to fade as a whitetail appears. Startled, she turns to see he's transformed into a large, blushing white snake. Seiyan calls his name in shock, while his brother looks on in panic. Realizing North Claire lost control from excitement, his brother runs after them.